Okay, so I just recorded and my phone deleted the whole video, so that's awesome. But we're going to show you how to take this out and put it in without doing it. So, steering shaft, 10mm bolt, I believe it was. Pop it off with a pry bar from underneath. It's collapsible. Lock your steering wheel afterwards. Spin it to where you can get to it. Driver's side wheel. Obviously, jack the car up if you don't have a lift. Jack the car up to where you can drop the subframe out. So jack it up high enough to where you can put jack stands underneath of it, and pull the front tires. Okay. Steering shaft. Lock the steering wheel. Tie rod nuts. Do your spindles. Take those off. Pop your tie rods off. Leave them attached to the rack and everything. Just kind of let them dangle. Upper sway bar nut. Take that out of the strut on each side. Let those kind of sit there. Alright, then you're getting close to being out. You can leave the lower control arms in. It doesn't make it harder. If you want to change them later or whatever the hell, it doesn't matter. So you're going to take your lower ball joint nut. It's a pinch bolt. Bolt and nut. Take that out of the lower ball joint, out of the spindle there. And then smack it out. I use an air hammer on the lower control arms. I'm getting newer lower control arms. It doesn't hurt them if you go right next to the ball joint there. Just give them a little tap tap. You can also use a chisel bit to spread this a little bit in the what the hell is it? In the lower control arm. You can spread it with the bolt out a little bit, and then hammer down, and then it'll come out on both sides. Use a pry bar, get that out, and then you got 2 nuts and 2 bolts. So your nuts, I'll tell you what to use first. If you don't have a decent jack or something, Harbor Freight sells this thing for like 200 bucks. Well, it might be a little bit more now, but it's a transmission jack. You can get that. It's a Pittsburgh. Highly recommend that. You can take that up, throw a ratchet strap around the bottom of the rack and everything. Doesn't have to come out perfectly, right? You can move it around. So maybe run a ratchet strap like an X over top, and then ratchet strap it to the jack, just so when you're lowering it you don't need a buddy or something. I put these on jack stands and I lift the car off with a lift, so it's a little bit different, but I know most of you probably don't have a lift. So anyway, you got 2 studs in the front, 1, 2, and then the rear lower control arm bolt, the one that goes up, that's what holds the rear to subframe in. So I hit those with a torch just because I'm afraid of them spinning, because the nut is a captured nut inside the body. So if you've never done your lower control arms, hopefully that comes out, but I would heat it. If you got a set of torches, I would definitely heat it or give it a try, maybe map gas, something, just to make sure that that comes out, because man, if that spins, you're getting into cutting and all kinds of stuff that you don't want to do, and you're going to want to throw the car away. Here's your front stud. You got 1 on each side. Now have that jack with some pressure on it when you got it up there. Obviously don't put it on sway bar, but have it up here underneath. You could do it with a regular floor jack too, probably. Just ratchet strap it up with some little straps. It's not heavy. It's maybe 80 pounds, 90 pounds with the rack on it. So I mean, it's not like 200-pound device. So what you're gonna do, I don't know, I touched on it in the first video, but you got a rear torque strut bolt to take out there too. You're gonna loosen all that up with the jack up there. Loosen it up, loosen all the bolts up, and drop it out of there. You gotta kind of flip it backwards a little bit to get that out of this little bracket on the back of the transmission. Right there. Loosen it up a little bit. You leave that alone. Leave that there. Even putting it in, you just tip it up, and then put it in. Then run your nuts up, put it back in. You guys can look up the torque specs, or I'll post them in the description. I'll edit it later. Alright guys, see ya.